Recently, I purchased a VR for myself, and I've had a blast using it. Playing hits like VRChat, Arizona Sunshine, and the new Assassin's Creed VR title have kept me busy over the past little while. The beauty of VR is that it has something for everyone. Rhythm game fans, FPS fans, people who like to cook, or people who want to experience thrills that they might not ever get to in real space. No matter what you're looking for, virtual reality gaming has it. I want to see what the VR world has to offer outside of the games I specifically wanted, so you know what that means, another episode of Steam Grab Bag, but this time we're jumping into the world of virtual reality. If you're new to this series, I either pick a handful of games from my Steam library that I haven't touched before, or I pick some lesser known games off the store to showcase. Without further ado, let's get into this special episode of Steam Grab Bag. Before we start, remember to subscribe. On this channel, I explore dead games in my So What Happened series, delve into the weird online phenomena in my internet mystery series, and I also review games individually, as well as making videos talking about random game-related topics. I also stream a variety of games on this exact channel, but if you can't make it to them live, feel free to check out RatedEm Live, my second channel where I post the best moments from my live streams. And with all of that out of the way, let's jump into it. So, starting off with a not-so-niche title, we're trying out Doom VFR, a virtual reality title based off the 2016 reboot of Doom, which could be a contender for like one of my top 10 favorite games of all time. Doom VFR attempts to encapsulate the aura that Doom 2016 holds with it. Gory, fast-paced action. However, it doesn't do it all too well. Before I get into the gameplay, I want to talk about the controls. This game hasn't been updated alongside new entries in VR technology, and everything is built around the Vive, a now 7-year-old piece of hardware. Well, maybe 8 years depending on when this video goes up. It could be 2024. In that case, hey, Happy New Year. I'm playing on a plugged-in Quest 2, so for something like the teleport movement system, it doesn't match up quite well. On the Vive, I have this big circle pad thing, which is very comfortable to use. When you click it, it feels like you're meant to click it without breaking it. It's like pushing the D-pad on an Xbox controller. It's been a while since I used a Vive, but I know what it's like. When you bring that input over to the Quest controllers, it results in you having to push the thumbstick in, which is really uncomfortable, and I'm scared that I'll damage that input with frequent repeated use. Luckily, there is normal locomotive movement, but that doesn't solve moving up platforms or glory killing, which I'll get to in a second. As I mentioned before, this game attempts to recreate the chaos that is Doom 2016's combat. In the actual game, it's fun, it's fast, it's fluid, but when you try to replicate it in VR, it's disorienting. Moving around a lot to avoid enemies can be a lot, even for someone who finds themselves extremely comfortable in VR like myself. It's also weird going from a lot of games where I have to physically reload a gun and then playing this where I have infinite ammo. It doesn't feel right. Let's go back to glory killing. I bought the game thinking I get to punch demons and rip heads off and stuff, but glory killing in Doom VFR is done by teleporting into a demon and then they just explode. It's very anticlimactic. The game also expects you to play standing up, as you can't turn in-game and you actually have to turn your body around, which sucks a lot. This kind of renders the game unplayable for certain disabled gamers. Doom VFR isn't terrible. It certainly doesn't feel like rushed garbage, and it does feel like it had actual thought and planning behind putting something like Doom into VR. I just think that the dated tech it's based off of hinders the game in the modern day. From its store page, Vail VR seems to advertise itself as a VR esports game, a competitive shooter entirely in virtual reality. I was hesitant to check this one out. Like, if I suck at this game, it's literally down to my own reaction times and my physical movement. It's weird to think about. And while I did end up doing pretty bad in the games I played, Vail VR is actually quite a lot of fun. It's got some great gunplay, and it isn't terribly physically demanding. The way you hold guns is a little awkward. It always felt like if I wanted to aim down my reticle, I had to hold the gun on like a sloped angle, but controlling recoil and reloading, all of that feels really good. I don't think I was supposed to take it so military-like, but as you can see from my gameplay, I definitely did. I don't think anyone else in the lobby was though, but I can say for myself, I was immersed in the tactical vibe that the game gave off. I didn't do great in any of my matches that I played, but hey, it was my first time, and I don't think I'm really going to lose sleep over the fact that I'm bad at a game I got for $2. Stride is the game I was actually most excited for out of the 3 that I played. It's a parkour game, and it reminds me of going on long car rides and imagining a little dude jumping over cars and grinding on telephone pole cables. Unfortunately, Stride ended up being really frustrating and really lackluster. However, I'll get to that in a second. Let's first talk about the game's highlights. In Stride, you'll climb, wall run, zipline, and grapple through obstacles while dodging sniper fire. I mainly played the game's endless mode, and when the game works, it's a lot of fun. It feels amazing jumping from platform to platform, wall running and firing at snipers before they get the chance to kill you. Stride is a unique experience that is just perfect for VR. However, the game's controls can get in the way of the experience. Jumping in Stride requires you to hold a button down and release it before you go to cross a gap, which is just extremely awkward as opposed to just a simple button press. It was the cause of a lot of deaths in my run through endless mode. There's also a lack of direction at times, which I think is due to the entire play space being this blank white architecture. It's confusing and it's annoying. Aside from that, Stride is a game that VR is practically made for. It just sucks that there's some bad controls and unintentionally confusing design that harp on the overall experience. I also tried out the arena mode, which is where you're put into a small confined area and have to complete various challenges within time limits. I just didn't spend too much time with it because it's just not as fun as the endless mode. And there's also multiplayer, but I got nobody to play with. And that concludes another episode of Steam Grab Bag. I always love doing these videos, even if I don't end up liking the games I check out. It's always a fun time doing mini reviews for a handful of titles.